We are really excited for this morning's conversation with Brianna Pinto and Riley Harrison. So real quick before we get started, my name is Leah Fenske. Couple of housekeeping things. We are going to be recording this morning. We've got some folks on the West Coast who are asleep, but who definitely want to hear this content. So we want to make sure we record it for them, just a heads up. And if you have any questions for Brianna or Riley, you're welcome to throw them in the chat box and we will get to those towards the end. Everyone's going to be on mute, but if you need anything, we've got Sarah and Kim here. They are willing to take questions or help with any tech issues. Just go ahead and chat them or raise your hand. We are really, really excited about this FORevHER Tar Heels initiative. I am a member of our fundraising team, and this fundraising initiative has helped us already raise a lot of money to support our women's sports. Our purpose with FORevHER Tar Heels is to cultivate a Carolina community that champions and empowers our women's student athletes. And we are doing just that through enhanced mentoring opportunities, enhanced networking opportunities, and of course, through greater funding. And we set a very ambitious goal for ourselves when we kick this thing off. We are trying to raise $100 million to support women's athletics in this campaign. And I'm very excited to announce that we have just crossed the $70 million threshold in that effort. So this is real. Our student athletes are feeling the impact of this initiative and of your generosity. So we are really appreciative and really excited to share some of their stories with you today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you Brianna Pinto and Riley Harrison. Brianna is a current women's soccer student athlete at Carolina. She is at the Keenan Flagler Business School. And earlier this year, she made her announcement that she is going to go pro after this spring season and has already been drafted by Sky Blue FC. And she was the number 3 pick in the draft this year. So she is just unbelievable. And we feel very, very grateful that she has been serving on our FORevHER Tar Heels advisory board and helping guide this initiative and shape it. And so we're just really excited for you to hear from her this morning. Welcome, Brianna. And then Riley Harrison is a 2019 graduate of Carolina. She was on our women's lacrosse team, and now she is currently serving as a credit trading analyst at BNP Paribas in New York City. We are so proud of everything that she has going on. And while she was at UNC and a member of our lacrosse team, she was also a student athlete representative on our FORevHER Tar Heels advisory board. And she really helped shepherd this initiative through the planning and launch and has been an incredible champion of it ever since. So welcome, Riley and Brianna. We are really excited to have you both here.
Thank you for having us. I'm excited to be here and to speak with all of you.
Awesome, thank you. Well, we are going to get started. So one question I'd love to start with for both of you is, what does it mean to either be or have been a Carolina student athlete? Brianna, let's start with you.
Yeah. I would definitely say that being a Carolina student athlete has been a dream come true. I've been able to have the most wonderful experiences learning from my teammates and coaching staff. And then off the field, the enrichment that I get at learning to be a well-rounded individual has helped me so well.
Love that. It is really special, and it's always fun to hear from y'all exactly what it means to you. So how about you, Riley? Looking back on your time, what does it mean to you to have been a Carolina student athlete?
I don't know. I never went to college with the intention of looking back at it as my glory days, but I don't know. It's definitely tempting. I loved my time at Carolina, and being a Carolina student athlete to me means a commitment to excellence, but also it has provided me with opportunities that I can't even imagine. I mean, whether it was the opportunity to be pushed in practice as hard as I was and to sharpen my character and who I was before I hit the real world, or just the networking opportunities that were presented to me. And I'm pretty much in the role that I wanted to be in since I was a sophomore in college. And I don't think a lot of people at other schools can say that, especially right out of college. And that is totally and entirely due to the networking opportunities that I had by being a Carolina student athlete, and just kind of the badge of excellence that being a Carolina student athlete means to what it means to everyone else in the world, and what it means to the employers. And so I was super lucky and fortunate to be able to spend 4 years there, and I'm definitely reaping the results and the benefits of that now.
I love that. I love that. So you guys have both perspectives. You have someone who's currently here and someone who's been through it. So with that in mind, can you both tell us a little bit about why you decided to get involved in FORevHER Tar Heels? And Brianna, I'd love to hear from you because you're in the thick of it right now.
Yeah, so FORevHER Tar Heels has been so special to me because they're empowering women at Carolina. And I think the experience that we're having is second to none. I feel like I'm at the best program in the country, and I get to learn from so many different strong and courageous women who want to push our game forward, whether that's giving us the resources we need to succeed or just showing support on a daily basis. And I think that's the way that our female athletes are going to have success in the long run.
Love that. And we are lucky and better for it because you're involved. So thank you. Riley, why did you decide to get involved?
Because I think, Jenny puts it really well. And she's kind of told us since day one, I think men naturally are a lot better at creating kind of a network or helping each other out. And not that women aren't great at that. We just haven't, I don't think, had the network that men have in the working force. So, now as more women are, working and getting jobs out of college, I think having that infrastructure and helping women and get where they want to be, and where, quite frankly, especially at Carolina, where they deserve to be. I think we have, at Carolina, you have a pool of women that are pretty excellent at what they do. And, when their time in sports is done, I think it's important that we put them in positions to thrive, because it's going to help not only, our student athletes later on get jobs and, be where they want to be, but it's also just going to help whatever working place that they're in. Because, I think of like the field hockey players, my teammates, soccer team, like they are just pretty amazing individuals. If you really rarely can you say that I pretty much like walk through Loudermilk, and every other girl I'm seeing, or every girl I'm seeing, is like probably among the best at what they do, and at the top of their respective field in sports. And they can do that in the real world too, once their career comes to an end in sports. And so I think for me, that was so fun and interesting and exciting, really, because I think we have a group of girls that can really change the world if we just give them a helping hand and put them where they want to be.
I love that. And you talked a little bit about Jenny Levy, your head coach while you're at Carolina. One of the things I've heard you talk about before that Jenny says to you guys is that you're all the tallest trees in the forest, but you don't even realize that until you get out. I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about Jenny and what it meant to have such a strong female leader of your team, and kind of how that has set you up for success after Carolina.
Well, I think first and foremost, she was a role model, right? Because she was someone that we could aspire to be like. And I frequently look back at things that she told us and had us do, and I use that as kind of fuel and information going forward in my day-to-day life here in New York and in the workplace. And I think, she never put a ceiling on us. She always and that's not just on the lacrosse field. There is nothing you could never tell. Jenny would never tell you that you couldn't do something. She would never tell you that your potential was limited. If you ask her the reason why she coaches is because she loves seeing people reach and exceed the potential that they think they have. And what better example of a woman who's just pushing others to be better than she is, and to just exceed anything that she's achieved in life. And she has always pushed us because she knows what she can get out of us, and she knows it's way more than what we think it is. And I think having that experience in college and now being able to apply it to the workforce, I mean, it's so empowering, and I feel like I've already blasted through a lot of ceilings that I've set for myself because she's pushed me. And I just, going forward, I think that our whole team, we really don't set ceilings or set limits for ourselves, especially when it comes to our careers. And I think that's been really awesome. And she's definitely been the person that's helped instill that in us.
I love that. Yeah, she definitely set you guys up to have that kind of growth mindset, which is so cool. And Brianna, you're obviously coached by Anson, who is a legend. But something that I just think is so cool and people don't talk about a lot is that Anson, walked away from coaching the men's team because he wanted to focus on coaching women. And I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about what it's been like to learn from him and what an influence he's been for you.
To Riley's point, like the network we have, all the coaching staff are interested in finding ways for their athletes to maximize their potential. That's what Anson's all about. So having a male coach in our environment, he wants us to achieve and go into whatever environment that we're in life and exceed. And he has full belief behind us. And to be in an environment like that every day where you're competing against strong and courageous women, like it is so enriching. And I love the environment he creates because he wants us to be our most natural selves and to bring the competition because it drives excellence. That's something I've always loved about him, and he embraces that. And I think in the past, especially in women's sports, competition aspect isn't always embraced, essentially. So I've really loved the culture he's created. He's instilled 13 core values in my teammates and I, and we've memorized them to a T, and we live them every day in the way that we carry ourselves. And I think we've created a legacy at Carolina and beyond. And it's so special to be a part of a program where we're dominating the women's soccer world and industries beyond that. So to play for him has been a dream come true. And I love getting to learn from my teammates and my coaching staff every single day.
Yes. Yeah, he's created a pretty special space for you guys and you guys have carved out a pretty incredible space for yourselves in the sport. So it's so awesome. Let's transition a little bit to this idea of mentoring and networking and really what is at the cornerstone of this FORevHER Tar Heels initiative. Riley, I'll start with you. So you saw this initiative kind of grow from its infancy and launch and get some steam behind it, and then you graduated. And you went off to do exactly what you were really hoping that you could do. You were out on Wall Street and you are just absolutely crushing it. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how the network that you had from Carolina helped you get to your current role. And after having been in your role for almost a year now, what you feel like you learned at Carolina that has helped you succeed thus far in your job.
Yeah, so well, kind of how Wall Street works is internships are really important. And so I knew if I wanted to get where I wanted to be, I needed to intern both my sophomore and junior summers somewhere in finance. I interned after my freshman year on just a very run-of-the-mill internship. And then my sophomore year, I started putting feelers out there and reaching out to Carolina alums, and they were so willing to help. And I should emphasize it was both men and women. I think sometimes there's this stigma that, women are just gonna, vie for or help out each other, and that, there's not really men involved. And I would actually say some of my best and fiercest mentors and fiercest advocates have been men at Carolina and men, in different industries. And so they definitely helped me out. I ended up with the help of Laura Zimmerman and a few other Carolina alums prepping for an interview and getting an internship on the Bank of America trading floor. And I interned there for 2 years. And then I ended up getting a full-time offer for a role that I thought was a great job, but I really wanted to be in credit specifically. So I started putting feelers out there. And Laura had introduced me to her mentor, who was a UMass lacrosse player. And Laura is one of the all-time greats at UNC in our lacrosse program. She's awesome, but she was in credit and she started putting feelers out there to her contacts. And I had gone to a workout class with her and this former UMass lacrosse player. And she reached out to him, said, Riley's looking for a job in credit. Do you have anything open? And of course, there was a head count. There was a position open there. I went in, interviewed, and got the job. And it was for my full-time, what I'm doing right now. And so it had a direct link to my contacts at Carolina. And I actually met him. The workout class was during the networking trip that the lacrosse team hosts every year. I mean, I don't know if this is happening this year, of course, but in a normal world, the lacrosse team, both men's and women's, would go up to New York and have a networking event for a few days. And so that was the result of meeting him, was the result of that. And in just terms of how it affects my current job, is Carolina alums find each other. And I think when you put an infrastructure in place, like what we're trying to do with FORevHER Tar Heels and this initiative, it just becomes that much more powerful. And so I think, I definitely had to do some digging on my own end, but I think, as we kind of, retroactively, like I look back and we create this initiative to help current student athletes, I mean, it's going to open up a whole world of contacts for them. And this job came from one connection of mine. And I can't even imagine what, a few mentors might be able to do for a current student athlete now. And so I think that just shows the effectiveness of this initiative and the payoff it can have.
Awesome. I mean, I don't know what more you need to say to convince people that giving people a framework, especially young women, whether it's men, women who can help them out, that it just takes that one connection and you never know where it's going to come from. So I love that story. And I love that you mentioned the networking trip that the lacrosse team takes, because that's something that, your coaching staff has championed for so long, and it definitely has helped folks get jobs, and that now this initiative is able to support financially. So we're really, really glad that helps you land your job and that you're loving it. And then Brianna, you are part of our first mentoring class in this program. And I know that you and your mentor, Maisie O'Flanagan, have such a special relationship. And I wondered if you might talk just a little bit about that relationship, about how you and Maisie connected, kind of shared experiences that you have, and just what it's meant to you to have a mentor.
Yeah, definitely. Maisie has been such an inspiration for me. She played soccer and lacrosse at William & Mary, and just learning from her every day and over the last year has been incredibly special, because she's had experiences that I eventually want to go to. My dream is to work for FIFA, which is a heavily male-dominated industry, and one of the most important pieces of information that she's shared with me is like commanding your space as a woman and really asserting yourself. And I think that's really important for female student athletes as we move into the workforce, because we need to take the qualities we've learned on the field and in our sport and apply them to the business world. And I think that will serve us so well. Not only because we know how to interact with others and create team leadership, but because we all bring something special to any spaces that we enter. So learning from her in that aspect, in terms of the mindset that you should take in order to have success, I think that's been the most helpful piece. And then also the connections that she's had. She knows a lot of people in the soccer world, from Sunil Gulati, who was the former US soccer president, to Jill Ellis, who was the former head coach. And those types of people are people that I want to know and develop relationships with. And she's advised me on like how to approach that so that I can eventually build experience in the field that I know and love. And I'm really, really grateful for our relationship and just getting the time to speak with her, because she has so much insight to share.
That's so cool. We had our mentoring meeting last night as part of this virtual retreat, and you and Maisie were both on there, and I just found it so inspiring to see, how in tune she was when you were responding to discussion prompts, and same for her with you. And That's the goal. That's the dream, is that we can build this network, like Riley said, not just of women helping women, but I do think there's something special in that one-on-one. We talked about it last night, right, Brianna? Like, I've been here and now I'm going to reach back and help lift somebody else behind me. So I love that you and Maisie have that relationship. And you touched on this a little bit, but do you and Maisie plan to kind of continue this mentoring relationship after you go pro and after you graduate?
Yes, most definitely. She's been such a huge asset in my life, and just yeah. Well, her son is recently admitted to Keenan Flagler, so I'm excited for him, and I can't wait to tell him all the great things that I've enjoyed about Keenan Flagler. So I'll advise him even in that aspect. But going forward, I want to keep her in my life and update her about my professional dreams, and then how I'm also pursuing opportunities in the workforce, because I want to develop both aspects of my life. I realize that soccer isn't everything, and I want to become a well-rounded individual. And she's kind of instilled the belief that you can do both, and you can reach all of your dreams, both in a career path and in your sport. And we also talked about like Title IX and the experiences that she kind of dealt with when she was in college, and I'm kind of reaping the benefits. So my experience has been much better in a sense, and I'm able to thank women like her who fought for rights like that to be able to compete in our sports and learn from it ultimately. So I want to take the opportunities that I have, consult her while I can, and really continue to just develop this relationship and have her in my life. And I want to take the information that I learned from her and pass it down to the next kids, because I'd eventually love to be a mentor in FORevHER Tar Heel initiative.
I'm so glad you said that, because that was going to be my next question to both of you. Again, we're trying to make this cyclical. We're trying to build this framework so that, generations from now it is solid, and these women have, kind of like the Carolina basketball family. They just know that there's this network out there that wants to support them. And so, Brianna, you are willing to serve as a mentor, and we would love for you to do that. Riley, knowing what you know now and kind of hearing more about how this is all growing, would you serve as a mentor?
Oh, absolutely. I think I just echo everything that Brianna said. I think the whole point of this is to give back. And Carol, I am not I know what Carolina has done for me, and I am not under the impression that I have done this on my own. I have gotten a lot of help from those who have come before me, and I plan to return the favor.
Awesome. All right. Well, pencil you guys in for the next round of mentors, because we're ready to get you guys plugged in. Earlier this week, as part of this retreat, we celebrated National Girls and Women in Sports Day. And, one of the themes of that day, not just at Carolina, but all across the country, is how sport can help young women grow and develop and find confidence. And I wonder if each of you could think about, one thing that you learned because you played sports, one skill or one sort of piece of yourself that you learned either when you were young or here at college, that you really think sport helped give you. Because that is one thing with this FORevHER Tar Heels initiative that we're trying to help our Carolina community understand, is that athletics, yes, is awesome because y'all are winning national championships and you guys are absolute ballers, but also that it helps our young women grow and develop in a way that is really special and unique. So I wonder if you guys could share kind of one skill or one thing that it's taught you. How about we'll start with you, Brianna?
I would definitely say that anything you set your mind to is possible. Like I said earlier, I'm living the dream. I wanted to attend the University of North Carolina since I was 3. And I'd say the piece of advice that I'd share with girls and women in sport is that if you set a goal for yourself, be intentional and make a plan, and involve your support system in that, because they do want to see you succeed. And if you take a detailed approach and are willing to commit yourself to all of the things that take to get to where you want to be, even when it's hard, I think it will pay off. And I know it will pay off, because I feel like my story is a testament to all the hard work and investment that others have made in me. And I want to take that into the workplace. I have big dreams outside of sport, and I want to make sure that I offer what I can bring to this world, and to ultimately make it a space where women and girls that maybe even look like can succeed in the future. And I kind of want to create my own pathway and bring what makes me special. And I think when you have that internal belief that you can do something, you're committed to it, and you've got a great support system, it will work out in your favor.
Awesome. Awesome. Riley, how about you?
I actually spoke on this at the FORevHER Tar Heels initiative launch. But I think the biggest thing, especially interning, I think everyone kind of hears the crazy stories, the Wall Street interns, and the book like Liar's Poker was super popular. Calm under pressure, I think, is what separates a lot of athletes from non-athletes. And I think it is especially Carolina, but I would say it's kind of a general as well. You can spot an athlete pretty much, you can pretty much pick them out of any analyst class, any office in my field. I think we keep our cool a little bit better. We've been under pressure. We've been in situations where we haven't gotten what we've wanted, and we've had to, put our heads down and work for it. We've had failures every day. I failed every single day at practice. And I had to pick myself back up and keep going, as same with all of my teammates. And having that really flexible mindset towards failure, and understanding that there's going to be criticism and harsh feedback, but that you just got to pick yourself up, take note, and improve in your next performance. And I think athletes just, we've been doing that for a lot longer, and we've had those high pressure situations that I don't think a lot of non-collegiate athletes have. And obviously, high school sports, same thing, middle school, if you played sports, you get it to a certain extent. But just, Brianna, you can also echo this, we play in some pretty crazy games. We play in some pretty important, competitions, whether that's NCAAs or ACCs. We have those overtime games, and we have to keep our composure through that. And having that experience is, I think, what really sets all student athletes apart from non-student athletes, for sure.
I would definitely say it's the resilience piece, just being able to continue going even when things are hard, and learning how to adapt ultimately. And I think that's served you well in your field, and I hope I can continue to take that into my next journey as well too.
Wonderful. Well, I have two final questions for the two of y'all. And the first one is this. So let's imagine, Brianna, that we're a few months down the road, and you are playing for Sky Blue FC, and you're in the locker room chatting with some of your teammates, and that Riley, when you go back to work on Monday, maybe you're, I don't know if you guys are socially distanced in the office or if you're all remote, but you're in a meeting with some of your coworkers and you guys are chatting. And just kind of put yourselves in that space, and people maybe start talking about where they went to school and where they played a sport, men or women. I wonder what, knowing that Carolina is actively trying to create this network for young women and actively trying to raise additional funds for our women, kind of helps you feel in that situation. I wonder if that helps you talk about your experience differently, or if that's something that you would be proud to share with your teammates, and kind of just put yourself, a little bit of the way down the road, and what knowing that this is a real level of investment here means to you in that situation. And Brianna, I'll toss it to you.
Cool. Yeah, I would always rave about getting the chance to attend the University of North Carolina and being a part of the FORevHER Tar Heels initiative. This work experience and just seeing this initiative grow has been so special to me, because it shows me how a project that was once an idea came to life and is ultimately changing lives of so many different women athletes at Carolina. And I think once I'm further down the line, I get to share those experiences and maybe even build upon them. How can we bring FORevHER Tar Heel initiative to other communities and even expand beyond that? And I think what we're doing here is special, and I think it should be the standard. We should champion our women athletes wherever we are. So even if you expanded to other schools in our community, I think Carolina would be a pioneer in that sense, and we'd be setting the standard for what it means to be a female athlete in college. And I hope that this truly gets all the glory that it deserves, because I'm so incredibly grateful to be a part of this initiative.
Love that. You're so wise. I just have to say that. I feel that way every time you speak and every time I get to have a conversation with you, but you are so wise. Riley, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think going to Carolina, it's a special experience. And I think, you know, I've talked to so many people about this, but there's magic about the experience here. And there's a way that I think Carolina alums talk about their collegiate experience. And it's just different than how anyone else talks about where they went to school. And I think that in and of itself is really special. And then you add in just the support that we have as female student athletes that not a lot of other female student athletes have at other schools. You know, the idea that there is a program that's designed to not further just our athletic performance, but is focused on us after we leave Carolina. That is really powerful. And I don't think there's a lot of schools that are concerned with that stage of life for their student athletes, and specifically their women or their female student athletes. And the idea that we go to a school and we are part of an athletic department that wants to push us and put us in the best position possible post college it's unbelievable. And I think I'm very fortunate to have been a part of it, but also have been a beneficiary of those connections and of that program.
I love that. And my final question for the two of y'all. We have a few folks on this call who have generously supported our women at Carolina through the FORevHER Tar Heels initiative. And I would love to just hear from you what you would say to folks who have chosen to invest in our young women. And we'll close it out with that. Riley, I'll start with you.
So I think when you make an investment in anything, you want to make sure it's going to play out and you want to see the results of that. And I can tell you, no one gets results like the women in the athletic department at UNC. Nobody wins as much as the women in the athletic department at UNC. This is a surefire bet. When you contribute to this, you are contributing to the future success of women. It's not a question. There are girls in this mentor program that are going to change the world. I'm so confident in that. And I think, you know, there's this idea in this culture where all the women that have supported me at Carolina, they want to see me do even better than they did and have it easier than they did. And, you know, they're putting me in positions that they didn't have to succeed. And I plan on doing the exact same thing. And I think if you give girls like Brianna and current student athletes those opportunities, you are going to see an absolute wave of just some pretty astonishing accomplishments out of Carolina alums, and specifically coming from our female student athletes. So, you know, again, I work on Wall Street. You want an investment to play out. You want a stock to rise. You want a spread to tighten. Trust me, this is the best play you could be making. And I'm so grateful for your generous support, because I certainly wouldn't be in the position that I am without it.
The smart investment. I love that.
I would definitely echo everything Riley said. She said it perfectly. But as a current beneficiary of your generous donations and investments in women at Carolina, I would just like to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Like she said, you're investing in the future of women's success from Carolina alumna. And I think what makes it special is that we're committed to University of North Carolina for 4 years, but that's really a 40-year investment, because again, you're changing our lives for the future and providing opportunities and advice and the resources that we need to make our dreams come true. So again, I cannot thank you enough for being a part of this initiative and for pushing university towards our unknown potential, which is so truly great. Thank you.
Thank you guys. And really, truly, to echo everything Brianna and Riley just said, thank you for choosing to invest in FORevHER Tar Heels and in young women like Brianna and Riley. As you can tell, it is a smart investment, and they are just doing the absolute most with the opportunities that we are able to give them, and we hope we can keep growing those opportunities. And so really quickly, before we turn to a little bit of information and details about our mentoring program, I'd love to know if there are any questions out there for Riley or Brianna. We're happy to pass those along, and if there are none right now, I'm happy to dive a little deeper into that, and you guys can kind of think about that. I don't want you to miss out on an opportunity to ask either one of these young ladies a question. So I'll give you a second. We'll see if anything pops up in the chat, and then we'll keep rolling. All right. Well, before we let everyone go, we know you all have busy days and we're all on Zoom a lot these days, so we don't want to keep you longer. But we have had a lot of questions over the past year about our mentoring program. How does it work? How do you get involved? And really kind of what are the next steps? We, because of COVID, kind of had to pause on recruiting a lot of new mentors this year, and we are hoping and kind of planning to get back into that this fall. And so what we want you to know is that this mentoring program, as you've heard from Brianna, as you've heard from Riley, is really about connecting our women at Carolina, our women student athletes, with a network of female professionals who are invested in their long-term success. And it's an opportunity, yes, for our current student athletes to be mentored, but I know we have a couple mentors on this call. I think they would also probably say it's been a really fun opportunity for them as well. And Sue and I have heard from several mentors that it's also a really great opportunity for women who are, maybe all over the country and have some Carolina connection in common to finally connect with each other as well. So we hope it can serve lots of different purposes. The way that it works, everybody who's on this call and who signed up for this session will receive a follow-up message from our team with some information about the mentoring program. And there's a little link in there for you to fill out a quick questionnaire if you are interested in serving as a mentor, or if you're a student athlete, if you're interested in being mentored and being a mentee like Brianna has talked about. So we'd love for you to fill that out if you're interested in getting involved, and then one of our teammates will follow up with you about that. And it is a really organic program. We have group meetings like the one we were all at last night, Brianna and Maisie. And we have some books that we read. Our first book was Wolfpack by Abby Wambach. We kind of use that as just a way to prompt discussion. Sometimes it can be a little hard to start a relationship from nowhere, so having some common ground. And then we really just encourage our mentees and our mentors to connect one-on-one every month-ish, every couple months. And I think everybody kind of has a different schedule with that. Rob, thank you for asking a question. Love that. And so, but we really want mentors and mentees to make it their own. So we try to be flexible. We have people all over the country. We've been using Zoom even before COVID to keep people connected, FaceTime, phone calls. We want to be as inclusive as possible with, range of careers, background, interest, location. This is about creating a widespread, really awesome and diverse network for our young women. So there is nothing that can really keep you from it. If you're interested in being a part of it, we will make it work. And the time commitment is not crazy. So with that, I'll just say, look out for that email from us. It will give you an opportunity to kind of put your name in there if that's something you're interested in doing, and we'll start getting you plugged in and following up with you as soon as we can bring more people on board. And then the last thing I really want to touch on is the financial support piece. Like I said, we have a big, audacious goal to support our women at $100 million. And we are making progress. We're at 70 million right now. And that's real money that our teams are feeling. Like we said, we're able to fund networking trips like the one that Riley talked about. We're able to fund, as soon as COVID is over, an international trip for women's soccer. And this year, with all of the budget cuts that our athletic department did face, the Excellence Fund, which is unrestricted money for women's athletics, we call it the FORevHER Tar Heels Excellence Fund, was actually able to provide supplemental funding to each of our women's teams this year to help offset those budget cuts. So it's real. Your support makes an impact. And we will have information in that follow-up email about that fund as well. And we would love for you to consider making a gift if that's something you're able to do. So with that, I will open the chat box one more time. I know Sue and Rob both put something in there. You guys are wonderful. As Sue said, you're welcome to unmute yourself and chat. But we really appreciate y'all being here this morning. And we just want to encourage you to continue championing our young women at Carolina. They are phenomenal. Yes, Rob, Brianna's article in about Keenan Flagler was so awesome.
Thank you.
Any comments about the new building, locker rooms? I'm so glad you tuned in for the tour, Susan. Brianna, do you want to talk about your new locker room?
Absolutely. I get to be in the most beautiful facility in the country. I don't say that lightly. We have like a disco ball in our locker room, and all of our lockers are like state of the art, and they have outlets in them and all of the storage we could ever need. And it is truly so special and so beautiful. And my teammates and I spend a lot of time in there together, getting pumped up for games and taking a nap, eating, just sharing our joy. And we couldn't have done it without your generous donations and just all of the investment that went into the women's soccer, the lacrosse, and the men's soccer program. So I think that stadium is truly so beautiful, and to play there the last 2 years has been so incredibly special, and I just can't wait to get back at it this spring.
Yes. What does Anson call it? His cauldron of death or something like that? Like he loves that the fans are right there now.
Yeah. He just loves how they're literally on top of the field, so that we can feel the fan support and the energy during our games. And one game I'll remember for the rest of my life is the Duke game. It was a packed house, and we could hear people in the stadium as we came out of the locker room. So these are moments that I've dreamed of my entire life. So to finally be here and to be living in the midst of it is just so special.
Cool.
Yeah, I can definitely echo that. I think for us, we, due to the locker room displacement, we didn't even have a place to really meet as a team. And I know, Brianna, you guys were in a similar situation. And now, oh my gosh, like we have a really comfy, like a huge locker room with a comfy couch, and we have Netflix. So it was amazing because it gave our team and our coaching staff an opportunity to post-practice, pre-practice. It gave us a place where we could gather. And I mean, there have been so many Law and Order SVU episodes crushed in that locker room, and like just so many other, we would have team movie nights, the night before games, and we would all just pile in the locker room with pillows and just all sit down and like watch whatever movie we were feeling like. And not even to mention, just the stadium. I think the first game we played in it was a completely clear sky, and it felt like you were playing in like the heavens or something, because the seats kind of bled into the blue sky, and it was unbelievable. And I don't think any facility in the country, especially for lacrosse, holds a candle to it. And I think one that helps with recruiting. So you are directly helping us compete with, I know Anson loves to talk about competing with Stanford in recruiting. And so I think, you're helping us with that, but you're also helping us really have a pretty unbelievable experience come game time, come practice. And that is just, it's really special.
Yes, the recruiting is real. I was talking to Jenny and Kara, your coaching staff, Riley, the other day, and they were saying it has absolutely changed the game for them. Obviously Carolina's been dominant for a long time, but where they might have had somebody that was kind of on the fence between a couple of schools at the end, the stadium just puts it over the top, which is pretty cool. And I do know that coaches are also starting to talk about this mentoring program in their recruiting as well, and how that is a resource that especially parents of recruits are really interested in. So it's real. It's definitely real. Any last questions for these two young women?
Leah, this is not a question, but it's more of a comment. When Brianna mentioned the word resilience, that just really resonated with me because we're obviously in very uncharted territories with the pandemic. I don't know what the results were for this fall, but last spring, I think our student athletes had the best overall GPA ever, despite the remote learning. And I think that that's what athletics does teach our student athletes, in particular women, is how to navigate things like this and still succeed. And I'm just really proud of both of these young women, just excited that they have come through Carolina, now part of the Tar Heel family, and just look forward to seeing what they do with their futures and how they help others as they go along. So congrats, ladies.
Love that, Sue. Lynn, you asked a wonderful question that is definitely going to go to Riley and Brianna, but actually, Maisie, if I could put you on the spot, you may have something to add for this one as well, since you are Brianna's mentor. But Lynn asks, what kind of support from your mentors is most beneficial to you? She's curious as a new potential mentor. Brianna, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I would say definitely being authentic and like just sharing your experience. Like, I don't think this is something that has to be structured because we all have unique experiences essentially. So Maisie just sharing all of the different things that she's learned throughout her journey has been so important for me because I get a holistic picture of the upward track towards success isn't straight. And I think at every point in life, you're going to have some hard times and you're going to learn how to overcome that. And just the story she shared with me and her advice along the way has really served me well. So to answer your question, the type of support that's beneficial is being your authentic self and to share your experiences and any advice that you have.
I would say, I kind of echo what Brianna said, but I had a lot of mentors where they didn't see the journey as stopping with them. They put me in touch with people that could also help me at different places and as a result of having one mentor, I ended up having 5 mentors and then 5 more from those mentors. And I think my network has grown a ton just from reaching out to 1 or 2 Carolina alums. And so I think having a mentor that wants to, doesn't just hop on the phone with you and, talk to you, but also is like, hey, do you want to talk to my friend? They have experience at, in X field, or they could give you a perspective if you're curious on this. And I think that's really, really helpful. And I think that's where it becomes game changing for sure.
Love that. Such a good question, Lynn. And I hope that Brianna and Riley have really been able to touch on just, it doesn't have to be structured, but it's just that person that chooses to give of their time. And you never know what one little thing that somebody says can really impart wisdom or make an impact. We have one more comment. Rob, I love this. Thank you for sharing this. Rob says, to both Brianna and Riley, you've both been involved with 2 sports at Carolina where success at the national level is unmatched. Former basketball coach Dean Smith, when asked about the men's basketball program success, would often say it was Carolina women's soccer success that set the standard at Carolina. I'm sure that if he were with us now, he would say the same about our women's lacrosse program. So a testament to both of you. Absolutely. Does anyone else have any more questions before we send you on your way? And then reminder that we have another really exciting session with 4 of our incredible alums at 4 o'clock Eastern today. We would love for you to tune back in and listen to that.
Thank you, Leah. This was really fun.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for being here.
Nice to have Sue Walsh here too. Kudos to you, Sue. You ought to feel really proud of this program and what you and Leah and others have done with it. It's great.
Thank you, Susan. I'm just excited that Leah's doing such a great job. Her enthusiasm and energy is going to take a long way. So.
And our next crew of mentors, Brianna and Riley. You heard it here first. Awesome. Well,
I also wanted to say that thank you for having me, but also thank you for putting this together. As someone who I worked in the tech industry where it's male dominated, and watching the men and all their boys network and golfing, and I think really working with women is very important for us to help each other. Yeah.
Totally agree. Love it. Well, thank you all for being here this morning. We appreciate y'all. We know that you guys are choosing to invest your time and your resources in these young women, and we do not take that lightly. So check out that email when it comes out. I'll have lots of good information in there. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to put my information in that email as well, so you can reach out to me directly. But thank you, Brianna and Riley, for being here this morning. We are so proud of y'all. And just one more quick reminder to join us at 4 p.m. later today. We've got some more exciting interviews coming up. Everybody have a great day. Go Heels, beat Duke.